Hello everyone, my name is K-Hug, you can call me Kyler, and welcome back to the Season 2 Let's Play Minecraft Survival series. Whether you're a long-time subscriber or you just stumbled in here, I want to thank you for all of your support, so hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, share with your friends, and leave some kind words in the comments down below. Now let's get into today's video. In the last episode, we wanted to get done the entrance tunnels to the caldera. From all the digging, terraforming, and replacing it with this detailed blackstone palette that we decided to go with, this is the finished product. Now I know we did this one in the last episode, but I went ahead and took it upon myself since the last time we were together and did the other other three entrances to the caldera, and then also did a little bit of cleaning up on the outbits or the interior archways here, just trying to make them look like they're part of the terrain. This one, there was a giant hole here. It looks like it's still growing back, but now it is filled in and looks to be more natural. So today, much as I just showed you, what we want to do is we want to take some of our natural resources and go to the outsides of the tunnels and work on the grand entrances, or just the archways that are also shown inside the caldera. We're going to put those on the outside and decorate and turn everything back so it all looks natural and flows together perfectly. So without further ado, let's gather some resources and we're going to head out the east tunnel. Okay, well, I think I have a box full of natural resources, including stone, grass, and dirt blocks and the grass blocks, excuse me. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this kind of rough looking outline here, like the smooth walls got to go. And then I believe there is a bunch of uncovered dirt right up on top here, like this. And we're going to go ahead and try to terraform all of the grass and the surrounding terrain back down over this entrance and hopefully get it looking good. Maybe we'll even go back and place some trees up here, but we don't really have any cherry trees around here yet, so maybe we'll kind of bring some of these guys down just to kind of cover up the entrance. But without further ado, the first thing we need to do is drop our shulker box down and get the resources out that I think we're gonna need. So to start, you can see I also got some of these basalts and the deep slate and stuff. We need to also be thinking or considering the pathway heading down. And I think I want this to come down and probably stop about here with the blackstone and stuff, much like the staircase on the insides of the caldera. And then we'll just terraform everything around to make it all look complete, and maybe even have some sort of block palette in order to transform from the blackstone into the stone. Maybe we'll go with some deep slates or some cobble deep slates to try to make this transition look a little smoother. So without further ado, I guess the first thing we need to do is get to digging. These blocks here are going to be exchanged with the deep slate tiles and the same aesthetic as done in the tunnel. This will be smooth basalt, regular basalt pillars, I guess, not basalt pillars, just the basalt itself, and then finally the tuff. So that is where this kind of trough I've just dug here is what this is going to be. But I am now just realizing that the only resource I did not bring with is glowstone. Let me go grab some of that. And thankfully I've been grabbing as much glowstone as possible every time we go into the nether, and I think about a half stack will do, but now our inventory is full. Goodbye stone. You may be aware what the glowstone is for, and what the glowstone is going to be for is, since this is bedrock edition, light permeates through these half slabs that I'm going to put down here. So the glowstone is just going to act as a hidden light source for the staircase itself, just to give it a little bit of light as we approach the base. We don't want it to be completely dark, just to keep mobs right out from the front gate here, especially because these pathways are hopefully going to be what's forcing me to start using my feet and horses rather than all of the rockets that I burned through. And I think that's going to do it for the deep slate. We can see that we got some terraining to do here. I kind of terrained this before without knowing what we were going to do with this. And so all of this can be kind of knocked back a little bit to just give it some breathing room. And then we're going to go back in here and we're going to replace these blocks with the same floor tiles that are in the tunnel up there. And this should be the general staircase, keeping the same aesthetic as the floor in here, out here. And now comes the probably most difficult part, and that is going to be all of the terraining that is involved in this specific entrance. The other ones I think aren't big steep slopes. I think they're cut into the mountainside, but we'll have to check that out when we get to that point. The first thing I want to do, well, the second thing I want to do, third thing I want to do, whatever thing we're on, is going to go ahead and knock some of this terrain back a little bit more. And like I said, I want to try to bring in some different blocks just so this kind of mends together. It kind of slowly transforms into stone over time. Now, I didn't anticipate using all of these blocks because these are our pathway blocks. So maybe the answer is going to be bringing in some of the deep slate tiles. Maybe those are too dark too. So I just had a fantastic idea. The insides had these basalt pillar and just regular basalt block kind of guardrails that go down the sides, and maybe we'll give that a shot. And then the stone will make more sense out by itself. So what is inside the caldera is just a random assortment of the smooth basalt, or just the regular basalt, and these basalt pillars to just kind of line the edge of the staircase. Now we want to make it a little bit taller. It's kind of serves as a guardrail as well. So we just bring a few of these in like so. That'll give us that entrance, and I want to keep this one the same just because I want to. And now this one will go up a little bit, and we'll just slowly do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to knock a few of these back, and this one as well. And then we'll slowly bring in this basalt just like this. Okay, with these random pillars kind of placed throughout, I'm thinking this is a pretty good entrance. And if we get rid of that light source, it still should be bright enough to prevent mobs from spawning right here within the entrance area. So this is how, you know what, this one's blocked. I'm gonna actually knock this one down. I think that was a little too tall. It kind of blocks being able to see the pathway, maybe even more, maybe something like that. That way the pathway, when we walk over that way, is not interrupted by this giant shear wall. And now I guess it's pretty much time for us to go ahead and start terraforming this, which now that we have this guide is going to be pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and just spam in a bunch of these smooth stone blocks in here, fill in this gap in the void just a little bit. We also don't want to make it so mobs can just climb over so easy, so maybe we're going a little above and beyond. And, oh, I almost totally forgot, we have to build the double, can I help you? The double archway here. Now the double archway is a simple little feature. I think we need these bricks instead. And it's just one more, yeah, I knew you were gonna be a problem. I only have a shovel, so stay still. Thank you. The archways are just a shadow of the previous archways in here like this. So all we have to do is apparently fend for our lives here. Hold on, we got some helpers. And this is exactly why we need to light this area up. So yeah, we went ahead and built this up. I think now I'm kind of lost because of those guys' distraction. I think we're gonna go up to here across the center, and then likewise the same thing on the other side. And just like that, the archway is done, and we have some new visitors. Yes, these guys are going to be a pain, so we're gonna have to probably go ahead and take these guys. Oh, that's gonna start a raid. Why did you guys show up at the wrong time? Or the perfect time in that case. I guess the first thing we're gonna have to do in order to continue on is probably go ahead and get rid of these guys. We can get back to this build. And here we go. The raid has officially begun. Hopefully they don't come over here. So if I don't get too close to the villagers, they shouldn't spawn. Last time I was over in the area messing around with the tree farm, this happened. And then the Ravagers destroyed our entire leaf block barrier to prevent the golems from spawning. And it, quite frankly, broke our iron farm. So as long as we stay, looks like we're good here. So as long as we don't go past any further than this, I don't want to get too close to start the raid. So let's just stay far enough away. We know this works, so we're going to stay in this area and continue working on what we got here. And that was incorrect. And we're just gonna jump right back into what we were doing. So I wanted to go ahead and get this pillar in. That was what we were missing before. And this is the double archway for the doorways themselves. And now we've got to do the tough part. Probably my favorite part. Terraining is not everybody's niche, but doing this is, in my opinion, is super fun. You get to customize everything about your world when it comes to terraining. And what I want to do with this one is bring out this hillside just a little bit. We'll even exchange some of these guys. We go back to my shovel. Some of these guys for some more stone to just get that outreach a little bit farther. That way it's not as funky when we start training this bat. Hello. Can I help you? That's enough. Now, where was I? What we need to do is start knocking back the hillside here a little bit, but I want to go ahead and just make sure I've got the interior wall like I like it. We're going to have a little bit of stone showing, and now we just got to kind of round this corner off, and as well as make it kind of transition easily, like have a little more smooth transition up, much like this. This side I actually really like. Now, this is the natural terrain, and we're going to have to build quite a bit of a hump right here to cover up the top of the tunnel, but I am liking the way this aesthetic here looks. I just need to do kind of what's here on this side, but different, if that makes any sense. Let me just do it. Let's just get right into it, and you'll see what I mean. If you ever need help training, all you have to do is invite one of these guys on over and just give them a few seconds, and just like that, we've removed a bunch of blocks. Now, my personal preference when terraining is to not make every single layer the same. So see how this is 1, 1, 1 all the way up? Sometimes you got to throw in like a double jump here. So this is 2 blocks high, and then kind of round them out from there. I don't typically do 3. Yeah, you see everything over there is 1 and 2 as well. By 2, I just mean 2 blocks on top of each other, just an elevation change. And so what I'd like to do is kind of just go back to the beginning where you want it to start and just take a few blocks off, and always try to just shave 1 block off at a time. See, I got way too much of a staircase going on here. So either take this one out and that one to give it a double, or I could have brought 1 back out and left the bottom one there. I'll take that one out as well so it doesn't look as funny. And that's kind of my process. It's super simple. I just try to make things look as procedurally generated and natural as possible. It is tough to do sometimes, depending on your constraints. This time, we don't have many constraints. This is a pretty wide open area. So thankfully that is helping this process a little bit. And now I'm kind of bringing some of this grass back in here. We will bring more back in as we get towards the end here and just have little patches of grass. I think that'll help bring the aesthetic back together. But yeah, the other thing I don't like to do is just have a straight edge, the same thing. Like this is all 1s across here. And by 1, again, I just mean like this would be 1. Well, look at it from this direction. That's 1, and then I could do like a 2. So we have 1 block, 2 blocks, and then back to 1. That just also keeps it from being, I mean, I almost said too blocky. I mean, this is Minecraft, but I don't like things looking super blocky. You kind of want them to have a little bit of a natural look to them. I think this is the last few blocks taken out of here, and that is the general shape, or what I think the general shape is going to look like. And another thing you can do is you can get on some scaffolding, or just use your rockets, but we're going to try to be better at rockets, and just give it an aerial view and make sure, you can see all the terrain around here, all the natural terrain. This is all hand built, but like that is natural terrain. It's nice and smooth, no double blocks, no triple block, just it's all perfectly terrained. Much like around here. So this is kind of, I mean, it looks crazy right now with all the particles bounced up and down, but what I want to do now is go back in, and we're going to replace some of these stone blocks with dirt in here down into this area, and then maybe bring like a layer of dirt in there. Leave a little bit of stone in this circle, or in this patch around this, because it is cut from the mountainside. So that's the kind of aesthetic that I am going for specifically. So the first thing I'll do is I'll come in here and just punch out a few sections, and then we can go back with dirt or grass blocks. It doesn't matter. It will eventually populate anyways, or the grass will eventually spread. So I'm not as concerned, but we'll go ahead and just use these since we have them in our inventory. And you just add a few of these back in here, and just let the grass and the stone kind of just live in harmony per se. Like I said, I want to go ahead and bring in a full grass layer in here. This one's going to look a little weird until we get it all back in here. So if we put that like that, add in a few more kind of randomly throughout here. So we just add a few more of these back in. That can all stay stone, just as long as we don't have any weird transitions. And every once in a while, you kind of pop one of these in here. Now, obviously, a grass block here would be weird because then there's like stone, then grass. You want a good transition. You don't want any weird layering going on. And then I also want to replace this layer real quick. And now that I replaced those with grass, we can now see that maybe it wouldn't hurt to have a few stone blocks kind of dotted in here. So what I'll do is I'll hand grade these ones typically, and just break in a couple of stone blocks to just break apart the vibrant grass. It's kind of overwhelming at times, so I like to just poke a couple of these guys in, and this helps also go back to the blending of these resources together. And I think that'll look pretty nice. And then, like I said, I want to do some more up top up here, but we also have a big old hill to build up here. Every once in a while, you have to come around and patch Enderman holes because these guys are a pain. Now, up here is going to be the most difficult part. We have quite a bit of the hillside to fill in, but the other thing we can do is we can actually, and I don't like doing this, I don't do this often, so not often will you find voids in any of my builds. I typically like to have everything be solid, so I would technically or typically fill this whole thing in, but the first thing you can do if you don't have as many blocks, in which I think I've got plenty, but I don't really know. So what the first thing you can do is you can just rough in some stuff and like bring out some layers. Any voids underneath here, you can either add some torches to keep the mods from spawning, or you can go back in and fill it in later. So let's go ahead and lay out the general shape. I'm also going to go ahead and rearrange this inventory. I'm tired of going all the way across. Okay. Now, we're going to lay out the general shape of how we want this land to look. And like I said, I'm probably going to go ahead and go the ladder route there. And typically, I will fill in everything solid all the way through without any voids because I really just don't want to take a chance of anything spawning in the area. Let's go ahead. We can put some of our stair stuff away. We are done with these items specifically, as well as our entryway items. And we got a few more here. We'll even get rid of that as well. And we'll grab a bunch more dirt. Okay, let's head back up here and let's get to doing this terraform. The easiest way to do this is going to be starting at the bottom and working our way up, because as we fill in, we need to have the ability. I still want to go back and do it underneath. Being in a tight quarters just takes a lot longer. And so kind of the same thing as before. I just want to make a natural rolling hillside, but also be aware that we have to make it look aesthetically pleasing from the front. All right, now as we come back to the front entrance, this is the terraforming that I've got done. It looks pretty natural. I think it came out really well, waiting for the grass to grow over the top of all these dirt blocks, but we have a whole another half over here to do. And I had to bring in some reinforcements because we ran out of materials. So it is back to the drawing board. Let's go ahead and start doing the other side. Now that we got the general shape down with all the stone, we're going to go back and add in all the dirt blocks in order to terrain this down, try to match this down to right about in here somewhere. So we're going to work through this real nice and slow, one block at a time, and hopefully this shouldn't take too much longer. Okay, now we've finished most of the dirt work, and all I want to do is add in a little bit more throughout here. I thought it looked a little funny the way the terrain was getting modified here. But that, once it grows in, it should transition really well from stone to the dirt. I even like the way this little steepness is right through this area. Oh, it looks like we need to take a quick snack. But from a holistic approach, let's go ahead and fly out and back in, and let's see what the approach is now going to look like. And that looks so much better. If you remember the big hole that was here before, this looks absolutely fantastic. So, with that said, that is one doorway complete. We only have 3 more to go. Okay, and from our perch upon the mallard, this is the second entry door complete. I'm not as happy with this one. I think there's a little bit more work to be done right up in that corner, but I'm not completely against it. That is the natural terrain. I did not modify that at all, since this one is kind of concaved into this wall. But I went ahead and did the same thing on these stairs. Now, the only difference I did do, and it's not really noticeable on this side, but if you come on over to this side, is I added some of these pillars on the outside to just kind of elongate this deep slate / basalt area a little bit on the edges, rather than just having like a sheer flat wall. Now the other side was not affected by that because the terrain came all the way out and kind of followed up the staircase. But since there was such a change in grade here, I went ahead and built out this wall just a little bit further to kind of accentuate that area over there. So this is door number 2 complete. We are on to door number 3. Speaking of concave, this is door number 3, or out the west side, and this one is really set back into the cliff. Now, the only reason these doors are set like this is because it is where the pillars ended up. I go every 4 and then a pillar, and it happened to end here, and I could have extended it out 2 more sections, which would have put it all the way out here, and then I would have had to fill it in a ton. So I really like how this one's kind of built into the mountainside. Now, the challenges of this one were kind of the opposite of the original two, and it was the fact that there's no bridge feature or no stairs down, since this is such a natural terrain bit here, and we could technically build some stairs, cut down into this hillside and terminate somewhere out there. But since this is such a big landing, I figured this is just as good as any for an entryway. But the only problem that I had was, how are we going to transition from in here, which I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, but that out into the stone and then into the grass. And I think this kind of does the trick. If anybody has any tidbits of help or whatever to maybe make this look a little bit better. I just don't know a good block, or can't think of off the top of my head right now, a block to transition from this weird textured floor into grass. I mean, they're just such opposition here. Dark and gray and gloomy, bright and vibrant green. So I'm not really sure how to make this transition, but I think this does okay. For the time being, I think I'm going to live with this. Well, I am going to live with this because I'm not changing it now. But if you have any ideas out there, go ahead and send them my way down in the comments below. And now we have come to the last and final entrance, and this one's going to be quite a bit of work. And I might have to go get some more resources for this one because the terrain here is so steep. It's kind of a sheer cliff up here that we have a lot of steps to do, and we have a lot of fill-in to do for the pillars on the side. Thankfully, this side over here won't be so bad because the hill does kind of jut out a little bit, and I went ahead and already have kind of filled in up and around this door frame. And if I'll take you on up there, I believe this is a good reminder for myself that this is pretty much complete. I'm okay with this. This hole's already weird, and I think the sides look pretty good. So it's just going to be about doing the staircase in general. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, yep, I did not do what I said I was going to do from the last episode and do all of these hallways. I ran out of blackstone. Blackstone has become my limiting resource here, along with the basalt for the pillars and the salt on the walls. So I've got some work to do on this tunnel. I got a lot of digging to do. That's how much room I got to dig out all the way down. And these walls all have to be taken out one more row all the way through. But I'm going to focus on that at another time. I really want to get these doorways knocked out, and then this will be easy peasy lemon squeezy when I get some free time. And just like that, we have finished all of the all of the terraforming up the side over here. And I think I like the way this turned out. Much more basalt on the edges and more than I was kind of anticipating, but I think it helps kind of mend and meld everything together real nice. So I'm really happy with the way all these pathworks kind of came out. It is time for us to head back to base so we can get out of here. I totally forgot we had a raid going on here, but it looks like it's almost halfway done, which means I think they're fighting themselves. If I'm being honest, if I had to make any good guesses here, I would have to guess that these guys, yeah, you, are doing exactly what he's doing right now. Perfect. And there we go. 2 mobs remaining. All right, now we got a sugar box full of absolute junk, but some of those could be used in other builds throughout this volcano area. But I think that is gonna... Can you hush? Is that necessary? That's gonna bring us to the end of the episode. I appreciate you all for coming and hanging out with me today. Since you're still here hanging out, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, share with your friends, and leave some kind words in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any constructive criticism or anything. Excuse me, it is so hard to get anything done with you here. Anyways, as always, stay beautiful. We'll catch you in the next episode. Goodbye.